After 50 years of marriage, I discovered the white moonlight my husband had cherished his entire life. They had traveled across half of China together behind my back, visiting every mountain, river, lake, and sea. When I confronted him, my husband replied impatiently, "Why are you overthinking this? If I wanted to be with her, would I have stayed married to you for decades?" Unexpectedly, we both reincarnated back to the eve of our wedding. Before I could even speak, he rushed to say, "Luna Shun, let's end this properly. I want to pursue my true love." 7 years later, Rowan Chen finally had his white moonlight give birth to a healthy son. Yet he cried and begged me, asking me to think of the decades we shared in our past life. "Luna, I really only love you. Can you come back to me?" By then, I had won countless awards. Looking at the new crop strain my mentor and I had developed, I slapped Rowan Chen across the face. "If this seed's drought resistance were as thick as your skin, it'd be invincible, you idiot." Ah! It died again, it died. "It's just a little dry, can't you hold on?" 7 years after rebirth, I lay collapsed on the soil, staring at my poor rice seedlings in despair. I lay there like a dead fish, trying to figure out why I'd failed. "Senior sister. Senior brother's been calling my phone. The conference is starting soon, where are you?" My junior sister's voice called from far away. I jumped up in a panic. I'm dead, I forgot. I was in too much of a hurry to go back to the dorm and change. I pedaled my bicycle as fast as I could. "Yes, Professor, I'll definitely make it." I grinned nervously, my wheels practically smoking, and arrived at the hotel 10 minutes before the conference. Hardly anyone was left at the entrance to the conference hall. "Good afternoon, ma'am. May I see your registration pass, please?" I confidently reached into my pocket, then froze. I smiled awkwardly. "Sorry, buddy, I lost my pass. Let me make a call." My senior brother was useless at this critical moment. He wouldn't answer my calls. Helpless, I messaged my mentor. "Prof, save me, TT, lost my pass, crying TT. Luna Shun." A familiar yet unfamiliar voice suddenly came from ahead. I looked up blankly and saw a familiar face. "It really is you." Rowan Chen sneered, his disdain and schadenfreude obvious. "After all these years, did you end up working in a fertilizer factory? Or did you spend 7 years farming for some landlord's foolish son and end up looking like this?" I glanced at Rowan Chen. He wore a neat suit, his hair gelled back, clearly trying to look immaculate. I looked down at myself, a black t-shirt, dark jeans, faded sneakers, with mud stains inevitably on my cuffs and hands. All right, I admitted I looked a mess. Seeing me check myself, Rowan Chen thought I felt inferior and sneered. "Do you even know what's going on in here? Today's the seminar on new hybrid rice seeds LED by the great scientist and his chief student. You think following me here will make me look at you again?" I didn't say a word, yet he already felt superior. "Look at who you are and where you stand lying about losing your pass. This has nothing to do with you." I rolled my eyes and retorted slowly. Rowan Chen scoffed, his disgust clear. "Luna Shun, do you still think you're the professor's wife from your past life, respected wherever you go? You forgot I dumped you a long time ago. Without me, you're nothing." I hadn't thought about it until he mentioned it, but memories of my past life flooded back. Back then, I knew no better. My family said it was time to marry, so I married. A woman should have a home, a support, care for her husband and children. Everyone else lived like that, so it must be right. For the rest of my life, I was busy. First, we moved to a strange city and struggled to get by, hitting walls everywhere. Just as life got a little better, I had a child. His salary was low, so I couldn't quit my job. I ran around with the baby, then came home to wash, cook, and clean. 3 meals a day, daily chores, family gossip, looking after in-laws, serving husband and son. Later, He climbed the career ladder, our son grew up, and then I had to care for our grandson. I worked my whole life, living in Beijing, yet never truly saw Tiananmen Square. But Rowan Chun, for a reckless teenage promise, met his white moonlight every year from age 40 to 70, traveling the world together. Mountains and rivers, leisure and freedom. They lived a romantic life from black hair to white. And me. I wasted my entire life, only to hear. What's wrong with us going out? How can I take someone as incompetent as you out? Why are you overthinking this? If I wanted to be with her, would I have stayed married to you for decades? Thinking of this, I looked up again at the man I'd spent a lifetime with. I shook my head. I've never had a better life than I do now. Rowan Chun looked surprised, his gaze scrutinizing me again. Stop being stubborn, Luna Shun. Your chance is long gone. He held his head high, smugness in his eyes. You don't know, do you? Thea's pregnant. We're living far better than I ever did with you. In your past life, you lived a comfortable life, yet you insisted on divorcing just because Thea and I traveled a few times. Look at how you're living now. You have no chance. You used to wear gold and silver with me, now you're covered in mud. Luna Shun, if you're struggling, you can beg me. After decades of marriage, I never turned my back on you. I found it absolutely ridiculous. He spoke so confidently I almost believed I'd been a wealthy lady my whole life. Back then, life was so hard we had to save every penny. On my birthday, I saw a pretty bracelet. It wasn't even silver, just an ordinary one. I couldn't bear to buy it, smiling and telling Rowan Chun I didn't like it. He walked in silence that day, then held me at home and swore through tears. Luna, I'll buy you silver ones, gold ones, the best of everything, all on your wrist. I smiled and said I'd wait for that day. I waited my entire life. Only now did I realize, vows are proof for lovers, lies for the unloving. And even weapons to stab you with. Rowan Chun looked down at me haughtily. Luna Shun, if I were you, I'd dig a hole and hide so I wouldn't embarrass myself here. Be sensible, beg me, and I might even take you inside to see the great experts. Oh. I replied slowly. I glanced at his pass and saw it was the lowest. Level 1, meaning he was only a peripheral observer. So I said sincerely. Your pass can't bring anyone in. Rowan Chun choked up. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw someone and turned around sharply. Dropping his arrogant act, he smiled obsequiously. Professor Cheng, I've long admired you. I'm Rowan Chun from the College of Agriculture and Forestry here for the conference. I hope Professor Chun can give me a chance to join this project and prove myself. I watched Senior Brother Cheng stunned by Rowan Chen's rambling and couldn't help laughing. Oh. Mr. Chen. Senior Brother Chun looked like he just remembered who he was, then breathed a sigh while Rowan Chen nodded and smiled. No recollection. Rowan Chen's smile froze on his face. I couldn't hold back my laughter anymore, and both of them looked at me. Senior Brother Chun raised an eyebrow at me, clearly about to ask who Rowan Chun was. What's going on here? He's someone who's been pursuing me. I'm so sorry, Professor Chun. As soon as Rowan Chun saw Senior Brother Chun notice me, he immediately declared firmly. She's shameless. She found out I was coming to this conference and followed me all the way here. I apologize for the disturbance. Senior Brother Chun. Seeing Senior Brother Chun frown, Rowan Chun thought he was judging his messy relationships and quickly added. Of course I'm married, and my son will be born soon. I'll definitely keep my distance from people like her. After all, a clean personal life lets me focus more on research. Senior Brother Chun opened and closed his mouth several times before speaking. He pointed at me, barely holding back laughter, and asked in disbelief. What kind of people are people like her? Rowan Chun looked serious, his tone critical, shameless, greedy, petty, and shameless. Senior Brother Chun fell silent, his eyes growing cold. I signaled him with my eyes. He nodded slightly and said expressionlessly, "Then both of you, come in." I ignored Rowan Chun and followed senior brother Ching inside. "Who is that guy? What's going on?" Senior brother Chun whispered to me. "Someone with a screw loose who thinks every woman on earth is in love with him is strong." Is strong? I nodded and explained the slang from over 20 years later. "Yeah, a total poser." Seeing someone as shabby as me talking to Professor Ching so casually, Rowan Chun tried to push forward too. "Sir, your seat is here. You can't go any further." A staff member stopped Rowan Chun politely. Rowan Chun looked at his name tag on the seat and had to sit down reluctantly. Suddenly he shot up again, pointing at me walking toward the front. "Wait, that woman doesn't even have a pass. Why does she get to sit up front?" No one answered his question. He had to swallow his anger and wait quietly for the conference to start. "Thank you all for attending today's conference." Senior brother Ching smiled and opened the highly anticipated National Agriculture and Forestry Conference. I met many like-minded colleagues outside just now, and many seniors and teachers are eager to join the research and development of this new hybrid rice project. I sat in the small back lounge, with a clear view of everyone's expressions in the audience. I saw Rowan Chun holding his head high, wearing a look of inexplicable confidence. In his ears, what senior brother Chung had said must have sounded like he met Rowan Chun outside and wanted to invite him onto the project. I spaced out for a moment. Inevitably, I thought back to just after I'd been reborn. Back then, having spent 50 years with Rowan Chun, I'd been so furious I felt dizzy, leaning against the wall wanting to go to my room and rest. Never had I imagined that when I opened my eyes again, everything would be different. I stared in shock at my incredibly young body, my heart in turmoil. Thinking of my wasted past life, I desperately wanted to end things with Rowan Chun for good. As soon as I opened the door, I came face to face with the breathless Rowan Chun. "Luna Shun, let's end this properly. I'm going to pursue my true love." Before I could even speak, Rowan Chun grabbed my collar impatiently. Hearing his sudden words, I realized in an instant he'd been reborn too. Seeing me fall silent, Rowan Chun grew even more urgent, shoving a red envelope into my arms. "Let me go, Luna Shun. I really can't live with you anymore." I felt the thickness of the envelope and laughed, replying crisply, "Fine. From now on, we go our separate ways. Don't bother each other again." In that gaze between us lay the reluctance of decades of marriage. One look was all it took, and he hesitated. "You are reborn too." I curled my lip and raised an eyebrow. "Yap. So you'd better not disgust me for the rest of your life." Even though he'd gotten what he wanted, he looked as if he'd been stabbed, shouting in disbelief. "You're reborn and you're not even sucking up to me. Without me, how would you have lived such a comfortable life in your last life? How could you have stayed home without working a day in your life?" I grew annoyed and furious, grabbing a broom and hitting at him. "Get as far away from me as you can. Don't let me see you again. In this life." My young body felt light and full of energy. It was more than enough to make up for all my regrets and fulfill all my hopes. Senior brother Cheng's voice suddenly pulled me back to reality. "But this isn't my call. The project is led by the great scientist and junior sister Shen. Everyone can hear her thoughts." Amid warm applause, I walked step by step to the center of the stage. Through the crowd, I met the eyes of the old version of myself that Rowan Chun carried in his head. "Dear seniors, teachers, good day to you all." I smiled and stopped paying attention to Rowan Chen's shattered expression. "I am Luna Shun, the person in charge of this project." "I'm delighted he. Had we all share the same wish to ensure everyone has enough to eat and are willing to fight for it. My teacher and I are more than happy to work hard and succeed together with all of you. But I must say this. This is a cause, not an honor. It won't bring you great wealth, nor instant glory. It is simply arduous work that demands time and patience. Just like when my teacher spent days under the scorching sun, searching through tens of thousands of rice plants to find a few male sterile ones. We will strive to succeed, whether it takes years, decades, or even longer. If you understand this and remain determined, you are welcome to join us. I bowed deeply to the audience and left the stage to my teacher. Watching my teacher speak eloquently on stage, I thought of the past 7 years. After cutting ties with Rowan Chun in this life, I left my hometown without hesitation to pursue my studies. Although I married young and devoted myself to my family in my previous life, my heart had still stirred every ti. I saw outstanding women on television, entrepreneurs, scientists, educators, all shining in their great fields. I'd envied them. I wanted that kind of life too. So I studied day and night, drowning myself entirely in books. Knowledge was my backbone, my future. I was going to earn my own dignity and seize my own future. In 1977, the news of the college entrance examination being restored shook the whole nation. I had prepared thoroughly, so I sat for the first restored exam calmly. When I received the long-awaited admission notice, I finally couldn't hold back and cried bitterly in my tiny rental room. I cried out all the grievances pent up over decades. 70 years of longing for this one piece of paper. I had finally stepped onto a brand new path. In university, I chose agriculture and forestry without hesitation and became a student of the great scientist. I stayed in the experimental fields with my teacher almost every single day. Coming from decades in the future, I knew just how rough his road to success would be. But my parents had died during the famine, and I'd been raised by the charity of others. Standing in the experimental fields, I could see the weathered faces of countless farmers. Staring at the failed rice seedlings, I could hear the wails of starving children. Starvation, bodies left unburied, people exchanging children to eat. I deeply understood my teacher's sorrow and unshakable ambition. Looking at the rice that just wouldn't grow properly, I saw countless girls locked away in the mountains by life. In this life, I thought, I had to save myself and save more people like me. I thought back to how I'd sat at home in a daze in my previous life when I saw the news of my teacher's passing. What if I told my teacher the ideas from decades in advance? Might he then live to rest in the shade of rice grains, watching ears as big as corn kernels? I looked at my teacher's small yet towering figure, and my unsettled heart from running into Rowan Chun steadied once more. I clenched my fists and stared firmly ahead. I was no longer that pathetic professor's wife. I had my own career and dreams. I would definitely succeed. Rowan Chun wasn't even listening to the great scientist's speech. His mind was filled with Luna Shin standing on stage just now, speaking with such resolve and calm. It was a Luna Shin he had never seen before. In that moment, Luna Shin seemed to glow, even overlapping a little with Thea in his memory. He still couldn't believe how Luna Shin had gotten to where she was in 7 years. For no reason, a thought popped into his head. It would have been better if he married Luna Shin again in this life. He immediately shook his head, burying the absurd idea deep in his mind. Impossible. How could someone like Luna Shin compare to Thea? She wasn't worthy of him at all. Only Thea was his perfect match. Lost in his thoughts, the conference suddenly ended. Rowan Chun looked around and finally spotted Luna Shin chatting and laughing with Professor Chung. A surge of irritation filled his chest, and he marched over angrily. Luna Shin. I was discussing my failed second-generation hybrid rice with senior brother Chung when I heard someone call my name. I looked up instinctively and saw Rowan Chun looking as if he'd been cheated on, leaving me confused. Senior brother Chung stepped in to block Rowan Chun from charging toward me. Mr. Chen, please show some respect. Rowan Chun froze in place, awkward, and finally blurted out. What respect is needed between me and her? I pulled senior brother Chung aside, signaling I could handle it alone. He nodded slightly and left us to talk privately. Rowan Chun, I hope this is the last time I say this. I looked at him coldly, as if speaking to a stranger. You and I have no relationship now, and we never will again. Please don't act like we're close. It shames me. Rowan Chen's face turned ugly. We were married for decades, you say we have no relationship? Luna Shun, I admit you've achieved some small, insignificant things now. But you're a woman. You're destined to marry and serve a man your whole life. He sneered. Don't act like you're above me. I don't believe you'll ever find someone better than me, or live the life you had in your last life. I couldn't help but laugh at his brainless words, sizing him up from head to toe. Thea Wei didn't even want you in your last life. What makes you think I want trash like you? I'm not a garbage collector, picking up what others throw away. Even if you evolved enough to bear me a child, honestly, I still wouldn't want you. You. Rowan Chen burned with anger. You're ungrateful, Luna Shun. I shook my head, finding it utterly ridiculous. The man who seemed so admirable in my eyes in my last life was nothing but a fragile, petty man. I felt another pang of regret for the time I'd wasted back then. That was why I had to seize this hard-won chance. You'd better go back and take care of your Thea and your son. You got what you wanted in this life, didn't you? I turned around smartly, ready to head back to the experimental field, waving over my shoulder. Don't let me see you again, Rowan Chan. My teacher and I struggled to figure out why the rice had failed. Where exactly had we gone wrong? I hated my cowardly self in my previous life. Why had I clung to my dreams but chosen to wither away in a household? If I'd studied and understood even a little of this process back then, I could surely give my teacher a clearer direction now. Perhaps my discouragement showed too clearly. The great scientist suddenly patted my shoulder and smiled. Young lady, why the long face? Hearing someone call me a young lady, I blushed awkwardly, and used to it. The great scientist laughed at my shy appearance. There we go. That's how you should act at your age. Your work is already excellent. What are you worrying about? Failure is unavoidable. We just missed something. No need to fret. Perhaps inspiration really does strike out of nowhere. Listening to my teacher's words, a new thought suddenly hit me. I jumped up excitedly and couldn't wait to say, Teacher, what if it's not drought resistance? What if it's a photosensitivity issue? My teacher stood up too, staring at me for so long that my excitement faded and I grew nervous. Did I say something wrong, teacher? The great scientist burst out laughing again, patting my arm. Not at all, kid. You're determined. Bright eyes are just like mine back then. You've grown up. Come to my lab with me. I discovered a photo. Thermosensitive genic male sterile rice line. I have a plan now. This type of rice becomes sterile under long summer daylight, but fertile when days shorten and temperatures drop in autumn. With this, we could control its fertility. My eyes grew slightly moist, whether from excitement or emotion. Even without the inspiration from my future self, my teacher had already figured it out. Kid, don't underestimate yourself. Your mind is more than strong enough to face any storm ahead. The great scientist suddenly turned back and gave me a meaningful look. I grinned and trotted after him. Got it, got it. Hurry, show me the new seedlings. I understood what he meant. Cutting corners never lasts. By walking steadily, step by step, I could still make flowers bloom everywhere. Grow ears. Grow ears. I loved my life now, so I was full of energy every single day. We planted the 2-line seeds we developed in the experimental fields. I was so wrapped up in this fulfilling busyness that I almost forgot about Rowan Chen entirely. But then an uninvited guest showed up. I stared blankly at the elegant woman sitting across from me. She wore a soft white dress, and her prominent belly gave her a gentle, maternal glow. From a distance, she really did have the grace of a plum blossom in snow. In any case, she looked far more presentable than me, covered in mud from the fields. I could only imagine how much Rowan Chen must have looked down on me in his past life while traveling with such a beautiful woman. Miss Shen, I've long heard of you. I'm Thea Wei. I nodded politely. Hello, Miss Wei. Rowan has told me about your past life together. Thea Wei smiled lightly and spoke slowly. First, I must apologize to you. Even if it was in a previous life, I want to say sorry for the hurt I caused you. Although I haven't experienced such things in this life, I can understand my own and Rowan's thinking. It was just a journey to reminisce about youth, perhaps regret over an unfulfilled young love, but it had nothing to do with marriage. We never meant to hurt you. I hope you understand that, sister. I frowned and couldn't help speaking up. An educated woman like you, do you really justify infidelity so elegantly and confidently? Thea Wei froze, surprised by my reaction, but quickly smiled faintly. It seems you hate the idea of being a mistress very much. But you must understand, in love and marriage, the one who isn't loved is always the third party. I saw the hidden provocation in her eyes and grew even more confused about why she insisted on meeting me. I don't know how you and Rowan ran into each other the other day. Thea Wei looked down at her belly, her voice gentle but her words sharp. I can understand wanting a good man for the rest of your life, but please remember how your past life ended. Look, what isn't yours, you can't keep even if you take it. Especially now, when you can't even take it in the first place. Don't try to steal what belongs to someone else. I listened silently to everything she said and roughly understood her sharp warning. I smiled and replied bluntly to her gaze. I don't know how your husband talked about me behind my back, but please be clear, he was the one who showed up at our research institute's conference. Besides, Ms. Wei, not all women value a rotten cucumber like it's the whole sky. At least I, Luna Shun, have my own dreams and life. I have zero interest in your rotten husband. And one more thing. I looked at her with a faint, sarcastic smile. Even if we follow your true love has no guilt rule, if your husband ever loves someone else more than you, should you blame yourself for not trying hard enough? Instead of acting like a victim and warning me to my face. I stood up and stepped back, speaking calmly as her face fell. Oh, and I wish you and your loser a lifetime together. Scum belongs with you. With that, I turned and left. What a waste of my time. Time passed quickly. The yield of the two-line rice had everyone at the institute on edge. We all watched closely, determined to get the results the second they came in. 1046. 3 kilograms. The great scientist's voice cut through the crowd, echoing in everyone's hearts. A brief silence was followed by thunderous cheers and screams. The average yield of the two experimental fields reached 1,045. 3 kilograms, declaring the success of the two-line hybrid rice. From the success of three-line hybrid rice in 1973 to now, 1985. 4 years, China's average wheat yield per mu had stalled at 500 kilograms. We finally made another historic breakthrough. Everyone at the institute hugged and cried. I heard my heart pounding wildly, my chest throbbing and my eyes burning. No one knew better than me what this meant. It was a full 10 years earlier than the two-line rice in my past life. 10 years. 10 whole years. I looked at the great scientist, smiling quietly at everyone, his eyes red with emotion. Teacher, you have 10 extra years to live your dream. I actually had this dream. I dreamt that rice grew as tall as sorghum, with ears as long as brooms and grains as big as peanuts. My assistants and I sat in the shade under the rice ears. I hugged senior brother Chin excitedly, hiding my tears behind him. After this milestone success, senior brother Chin insisted we clean up and take everyone to a karaoke lounge that night. He said we deserved to relax before getting back to work tomorrow. Bars didn't exist yet. Karaoke lounges were popular all over the country. Everyone cheered loudly. Reluctantly, I went back and changed into a black long dress, putting on light makeup. I'd never been anywhere like this in my past life. So I declined senior brother Ching's invitation to the dance floor and sat at the edge with a glass of champagne. To elegant music, cheerful men and women danced the waltz freely beautiful, with a touch of old-world charm. These were the common 7-step and 5-step dances of the era. I'd only seen strange disco moves on TV before, so I watched with great interest. "May I have this dance, beautiful?" The voice behind me sounded familiar. I turned around instinctively and saw an unexpected face. He looked much more haggard than last time. Perhaps because of the dim lighting, Rowan Chen didn't recognize me. At first, he gave me a smile he thought was charming. "I'd be thrilled all night if I could dance with a lady like you." I rolled my eyes. "No thanks. I'd throw up." Hearing my voice, Rowan Chen's smile froze on his face, utterly shocked. "Luna Shun. How is it you?" I turned back to watch the dance floor, replying uninterestedly. "I was just thinking the same thing. Why are you everywhere? Hey, looking all down like that, did some man dump you? Oh, looking like a lost dog, did your wife kick you out?" I shot back. Without holding back. Rowan Chen stiffened. I perked up. The scumbag got what he deserved. "Oh, did I guess right?" I felt a little triumphant. For some reason, Rowan Chen sat down next to me, sighed, and started complaining to me. "You have no idea how much trouble that way woman is. She's being so dramatic about having a baby. I'm exhausted from work all day, then I have to wait on her and the son when I get home. I don't get it. She doesn't work, so what does she even do at home?" He took a sip of liquor moodily. "And she blames me for everything. She doesn't see how moody she is all the time, acting like a lioness. I just don't understand. You used to work, take care of the kid, and do all the housework, and you never complained. Why can't she? Why's she so dramatic?" I inched quietly to the side after his rant, speechless. "You're supposed to be a modern person. Don't you know women can easily develop mental health issues after childbirth? Even a normal man knows to cherish his wife. Giving birth is like walking through the gates of hell." "What do you mean dramatic?" Rowan Chen retorted instinctively. "She is dramatic. You never acted like that." I really didn't want to stay around an idiot any longer. I stood up and said coldly, "Still don't get it. Because in my past life, and in Theo Wei's present life, we both had an irresponsible, chauvinistic, self-centered husband. I couldn't stand it anymore and turned to leave immediately. I was completely confused. Until I saw a striking bouquet of red roses at the entrance. I walked over and saw 3 big characters on the card. "For Luna." Everyone gathered behind me, joking around. I could feel a vein popping on my forehead. This was Rowan Chen's handwriting. I know it anywhere. Is he never gonna stop? Did the person who sent these leave anything else? I asked calmly. "Yep." Senior brother Ching smiled casually, staring straight at me. "Give it to me." I looked at him steadily. Senior brother Ching hesitated for a moment, then handed me a business card. I took it and walked toward the telephone room. I stayed calm while waiting for the call to connect. "Hello." A affected, pretentious voice came through. "Rowan Chuan, are you out of your mind?" My furious words scattered the group eavesdropping outside. He froze on the other end, clearly not expecting this reaction from me. In his fantasy, I should have been moved to tears by the roses, rushing to call him back, pouring out how hurt I'd been from being ignored all these years. That's why I was sure he'd left his number. "Luna, why so angry this morning? Who upset our Luna?" I felt my anger rising. "Luna, I thought all night. I really believe we had an amazing life together in our past life. I don't actually love Theo Wei at all. Our decades of marriage are etched in my heart. So I've decided I want to be with you. Come back to me. You don't have to work anymore. I'll support you." We'll live our whole lives together again, travel the mountains and seas, and be happy. He spoke with such tender affection, as if deeply devoted. I felt disgusted and burning with rage. You disgusting creep. Who wants you, you idiot? How can you be this nauseating first thing in the morning? How can someone be as worthless as you, acting like they're God's gift? Why don't you look in the mirror? Even a dung beetle wouldn't know where to start with you. I cursed freely, then hung up the phone as soon as I'd let it out. I must have been blind in my past life, wasting my whole life on a man like this. When I walked into the lab, the great scientist raised an eyebrow at me. Whoa, who upset our Luna? The other colleagues held back laughter, while I scowled. Ching! The great scientist called to senior brother Chung with a grin. Did you upset our Luna? Senior brother Chung shook his head, also smiling. Not me, Professor. I'd also like to know who can make our gentle junior sister Shen fire off such sharp lines. My face darkened even more. All right, enough teasing. The great scientist laughed twice, then turned serious. Luna, Xinhua News Agency wants to interview you this afternoon. Make time for it. Me. I pointed at myself in confusion. The great scientist nodded. Of course. My student, project leader, you deserve the interview. Go on, and dress nicely. Don't look all dusty like this old man. I could only nod in agreement. I had no idea how Rowan Chen found out about the interview, but he blocked me at the entrance. What do you want now? I was completely fed up. His eyes shone with obvious admiration. Luna, you look beautiful today. Nothing like before. I look beautiful every day. Rowan Chen looked disappointed. But you never treated me like this before. What changed? He even reached for my hand anxiously. I stepped back quickly. Rowan Chen froze, loneliness flashing in his eyes. Luna, have you forgotten how happy we were in our past life? I really get it now. I never loved Thea Wei. I just got carried away, thinking it was cool to keep a teenage promise. I never really wanted to be with her. You're the only one I've ever loved. Come back to me. I'll take good care of you so you don't have to work so hard. He sounded incredibly sincere. I sneered. Rowan Chuan, you really have the nerve to say that. In my past life, I gave everything to make our life good, yet you only pine for your unattainable white moonlight. Even now, you still won't. Admit you cheated. In this life, you finally got what you wanted, but now that you have your white moonlight, she's just a grain of rice stuck to your shirt. Are you just pathetic, or greedy enough to want everything? If you treated Thea Wei like a treasure this whole life, I might have respected you a little. But you're just more and more contemptible. Rowan Chen's eyes reddened. He looked at me with a broken expression. It's not like that, Luna. I was wrong in my past life, but I didn't mean it. Give me another chance. Stop disgusting me. When will you act like a real man, admit your mistakes, and face your flaws? I walked past him. But Rowan Chen rushed over and grabbed my arm, tears rolling down his face, his voice choking. Luna, I really love you. I can't live without you. Believe me, please. Can you come back to me, Luna? I pulled my arm away and slapped him across the face, unable to bear it any longer. If this seed's drought resistance were as thick as your skin, it'd be invincible, you dumbass. You get one chance to talk, and you start putting on a show. You want the truth. Look at yourself. Are you even worthy of me? I could do 1,000,000 times better than you. Without Rowan Chen bothering me, my life returned to peace. I kept working in the experimental fields with my teacher and teammates, diving into new rice research. I never found the days boring. I loved this fulfilling life deeply. But I never expected senior brother Chim to confess to me. Surprised, I smiled apologetically and gently said I wasn't ready for marriage. Why not, Luna? Senior brother Ching didn't understand. He asked eagerly. I respect your dreams. I won't ask you to stay home and care for a family like other men. I support your work. I just want to be your support. I won't hold you back. I looked at him and answered honestly. You're a wonderful person, and you would be a great support. But for me, I am my own greatest support. But senior brother Chen couldn't help saying, the world is so harsh to women. If you live this differently, people will judge you. Is it worth it? That's why I tell myself to keep climbing higher so agriculture can have one more female scientist speaking up for women. If other women see me pushing against the current, they'll realize there's another way to live. When all women stand up, our era of equality will come. It's not about whether it's worth it. It's about what I choose. Many years later, living in a new era, Chun Ran would finally understand that the unstoppable, gentle power in Luna Shin's eyes when she spoke those words was the power of female awakening. But Chun Ran didn't understand now. He could only watch Luna Shin smile apologetically, then walk firmly toward her future. I didn't think I'd done anything wrong. It wasn't that my failed marriage with Rowan Chun made me afraid. I remembered a girl saying in my past life, anyone looks beautiful under the cherry blossom tree. My love burns bright for anyone. It's not that you're gray I am. Maybe at first, after the failed marriage, I doubted myself. But over the years, working alongside my teacher, laughing and worrying with my colleagues, I realized there are so many meaningful things in life and I was doing exactly what mattered to me. In 1999, one-line hybrid rice was developed ahead of schedule once again. The whole nation celebrated our success. The great scientist's dreams were published in the People's Daily 20 years early. The dream of enjoying the cool under rice and the dream of hybrid rice covering the globe were revealed to the world for the first time, causing a huge sensation. His dedication and greatness were recognized and praised by the world ahead of time. I was beyond excited. But harsh judgments never failed to appear. I hear life in the fields is very tough. How did you, as a woman, keep going, Ms. Shen? I listened to these questions, so different from those asked of my male colleagues, and spoke calmly. I tell myself, if I work hard today, there will be one more female scientist in agriculture who can tell reporters that the hardship isn't as scary as it sounds. Maybe another woman will see that and push herself harder too. Then there will be one more female teacher protecting women, one more female architect designing for women, one more me in every field. The reporters exchanged glances. I smiled as they joked. Now that hybrid rice is finally successful, your wish must be to find a good husband and settle down, right? I smiled and replied, I'm afraid to disappoint you. My current goal aligns with my teacher's. Ending the possibility of famine in China is just our initial aim. 1. Reporter blinked. Your goals sound very grand, Ms. Shen. They're actually very small. I answered truthfully. You're too young to understand. But those of us who lived through the 60s and 70s share this one dream. A peaceful nation, a prosperous year, and no more hunger. This story makes us deeply realize that a woman's value never lies in marriage or others, self-awareness and independence driving our inner strength of life. In her previous life, the heroine devoted herself to her family but was betrayed and despised by her husband. After rebirth, she let go of emotional entanglements, focused on study and scientific research, became an outstanding scientist in agriculture through hard work, realized self-worth, and contributed to society. However, the husband, obsessed with his white moonlight, finally lived a selfish and shallow life and regretted it. It tells us that there is no restart in life, but every choice can reshape fate. Women should bravely pursue their dreams and earn dignity by themselves, both men and women. Should focus on self-growth, be loyal to responsibility and original aspiration, not be kidnapped by illusory feelings, and live as independent, firm and valuable individuals.